Hello, everybody, and welcome back to MonkieCast. I am your host, AJ.
I am Meso.
I'm Tenebrain Victus.
I'm Starbreaker.
And I'm Sakota.
And today we are finally going to be talking about Season 1 of Monkey Kid, the TV show.
What are you talking about finally? It only aired like a month ago, don't you know?
Yeah. Only a month ago.
It only came out on
Only.
Amazon a month ago.
Yeah.
We're not late. We're pretty much right on time.
You're not like a year late or anything. It's fine.
No.
It's all right. They
What
weren't,
year
they weren't
is it?
late to making it accessible for, English-speaking audiences or anything.
True.
Can I just say, like, it feels like time has just been erased. Probably because the state of the world and like everything that's happened and all the lockdowns and stuff, but like it feels like a giant chunk of like my life is just gone because I remember Monkey Kid like premiering as if it was like a month ago. And I'm not like I've just lost time.
I was rewatching the episodes earlier, and I was sat and I was like, I watched this like a year ago, like longer than a year ago. I can't wrap my head around it. It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
Was it really a 2020 like thing, or was it 2019? I don't.
It was 2020.
I guess it would have to be. It doesn't seem like it would have been though.
No.
It really doesn't.
What was it? It was like the pilot aired in April, and then the show was like September or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that does make sense.
It is kind of like approaching like a year and a half and more at this point. So we're going into 2022 soon. So I guess that makes sense.
No.
Reminds me, I saw this picture that was a guy that was like staggered and falling on the ground. It said, "Me still recovering from 2020," and then it said like 2022 in 20 days or whatever.
Honestly, though.
I hate thinking about it.
Some guy like flying out of left screen about a like haymaker, the guy that's already on the ground.
Well, it's because 2020 was so like draining, and then 2021 has just like been us trying to get by and not be drained.
2020 was like a year where everything happened, but nothing was happening. Like because we're all indoors, so like it felt every day feels the same, but there was so much going on.
Joke's on you, I'm always indoors.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, it wasn't that much different, other than the stakes were higher if I went outside.
More or less that, yeah. But I'm excited to finally like be doing this.
Flying stakes.
Silence. This is not a happy place. This is no time for jokes. This is serious.
Super serious business.
Super serious. We're here talking about a
Monkey
children's toy line and TV show, and it's super serious.
Bunch of grown adults.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's good though. It's really good.
Oh.
What are we doing today?
Really?
And Ulti is cringe for not watching it.
Today we're gonna talk through all of season 1. Because it's been so long, and we might as well just make this a longer podcast, talk about the whole season. Whether or not we do the same season 2, probably not. It might be split in half, don't know yet. But for today, we're just gonna quick fire go through these episodes, talk about what we like, disliked, just talk about it, discuss and
I don't actually know if it will be a longer one.
won't it?
I'm just like, you would think it would be, but like,
It would.
I don't know how much there is to say about
if
season
it
1.
was more of a breakdown episode by episode and we had to talk about each one in depth, then yeah, it would probably be longer. But I mean, if we're just gonna be kind of talking about what we liked and disliked about it as a whole, and that, I don't think it's gonna be nearly as long.
We'll see. We'll roll the verbal dice.
The verbal dice.
Could just be a regular length podcast, but won't know. So, I guess we shall start then. Episode 1, titled Bad Weather. That's obviously first episode after the pilot episode. MK You know, he's excited, he's giddy, he's invincible, as he keeps stating throughout the episode. Red Sun is trying to retrieve the staff, you know, Bull King. He takes over the weather station. They go to fight him. MK ends up fighting himself, eating himself out of a window and just kind of falling. Monkey King comes in, gives him a talk, and is like, I can give you better control of your powers, but you're not going to be invincible anymore. Does the thing, goes back, defeats Red Sun with his staff, making it like a lightning rod, and just burns him to a crisp, and that's the episode.
You just reminded me.
Yes.
I feel like we've kind of forgotten, but like,
Yes.
that would imply that at the end of the pilot,
Mhm.
MK was invincible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I forget about that.
Yeah.
I just forget. Like initially, that was how that was
Yeah.
supposed to work. He was
I
just
will admit
invincible.
that rewatching this season was definitely a good idea because at the time when watching it I wasn't thinking about anything, but now that time's passed and I rewatched it, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
What thoughts did you have?
Well, like just general kind of, you know, because we don't know a lot about the powers that he like has and doesn't have and that sort of thing. Like he's invincible, but like was he invincible from the moment he like picked up the staff, or was this like a you know,
When he had to
it's
unlock it in himself at the end.
yeah
Mm.
yeah yeah
I don't know. It's an interesting thing to ponder because the powers are so like vaguely defined in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah
I guess like the invincibility was just like a blanket thing,
yeah
and then he had to like break it down to a more technical sense to refine it into like individual abilities,
Mm.
which is what we've kind of seen, which is kind of the whole premise of the show.
yeah
Yeah,
You
he
know,
has
I'll
to
be
learn
honest.
to control it.
When we first saw the pilot, you know, we all loved it, but like I was very skeptical of what the actual show was going to be.
Yeah.
Because like, okay, you sell the premise, but Lego traditionally doesn't really do well after that. Like, just look at Chima or even the early days of Ninjago. They essentially wrap up the story, or at least the story that the sets showed, and then they devolve into more of like, you know, Monster of the Week episodes where the villains come back and they just do like random things. And Monkey Kid is kind of like that, but also not, because as we get further into it, like season 1 introduces several recurring villains that weren't in the pilot, which I really respect.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy that it pretty much directly continues, and it's like, okay, well, he wrecked DBK, so the first episode's about Red Sun. And I
Yeah.
like that because we love Red Sun in this
Everyone
house.
loves Red Sun.
Red Sun is amazing.
You gotta
He
love
is
his voice
absolutely brilliant.
acting. Like,
Dude,
he
his
just
voice
has,
acting
like,
is
such
so good.
character. He's got such
Yeah.
good character. But yeah, I agree with what you were saying, Meso. It's just like the pilot ends on a note where MK is just straight up overpowered, but like the whole first season for sure is just like about knocking him off that pedestal and making him like actually learn how to improve as, you know, as a hero, instead of being able to just like use this overpowered skill set right off the bat. Like there's just
And
a
I
lot
like
of lessons
that.
to be learned.
I like that they actually do show training, you know, because they could have just not done that. They could have been like, oh, well, he unlocks all the latent abilities and he just kind of has to be like at peace with himself to pull out a Deus Ex Machina. But no, they do a full on like in the background, you know, training arc, and it starts with this episode, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was totally necessary that they wouldn't give him the full powers like Sun Wukong would have for the
Yeah.
series, because otherwise, like, most of the villains would kind of be a joke. So
You're so right.
I think one thing to keep in mind, I mean, just while pondering how the stories are written and what like the morals are, is basically like the producers ask the writer to like, all these episodes are supposed to instill some form of like, you know, Chinese value for like kids. So it's basically got to be educational to some degree. And I think you can definitely tell there is like a clear like moral to each thing, like each step of the way that MK.
I didn't think about it like that, but that's true, huh?
Yeah,
That's very cool.
there is slight educational value to these shows. Like,
Slight.
it's a cartoon. Come on, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't decide if when the Monkey King like seals his power a little bit, I couldn't decide if it reminded me more of like Kung Fu Panda when Tai Lung gets the like the spell or whatever placed on his chest and it knocks him out, or if it reminded me of like Naruto when he gets the seal placed on his stomach to mitigate his power.
Spoilers for Naruto. Come
Oh
on.
my
man.
gosh, Zach.
Wow.
Ruined.
A TV show and manga that's like how many years old now? I don't think that
Spoilers
really
are
counts as-
timeless.
It's
Spoilers
still new
are
to
forever.
me.
One other thing.
Yes.
I was very, very, very skeptical of the animation because I didn't know if they'd be able to keep it on the same level.
Absolutely.
And they did.
Yeah.
Some of the
It
stuff is
basically
even
stays
better
consistent.
than
Oh no, we have to cut corners. We can't even animate him moving properly. We're just going to slide him across the screen. We put all the time and effort into
Oh,
the pilot.
wow.
We can't do anything anymore.
Low key hidden side disc.
We're animating these
Aw.
episodes using Microsoft PowerPoint, except it's the trial version, and we have to start from scratch halfway through.
Oh,
Like there's this brief, like 4-second fight between like MK and Red Sun, and I was just like, "Ah, this is so good."
I love that fight. I love it.
So I mean, I don't know. This was a good first start. I love this episode.
Yeah, I think it was a great way to kind of like go about starting off the show from the pilot. You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
a good starting
Like-
point.
The first episode wasn't really groundbreaking in any way.
Mhm.
Like
Mm.
it didn't really change the narrative in it, other than like taking his powers away in any meaningful way. But
Yeah.
it was nice to just set up what like give the setting for the first season in a way.
You're so right.
That's what like most of this season's episodes consist of, though, isn't it? Like just like the one-offs kind of stuff.
Yeah. It is very much one-off centric.
Yeah. It's not.
That's not
bad.
necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's like
It reminded me a lot of the first season of Ninjago too.
Mm.
Like a racing episode. I
yes.
mean that's the second season of Ninjago, but still. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, that's really all I have to say about the first one. It was
Yeah,
a
it's
simple
just-
introduction,
Just
but
a
it
good
worked
start.
very well.
Right then. Episode 2. That is, oh lord, Duplicate Nation. Let's think about it. So, MK is overworking himself. You know, he's like doing a bunch of deliveries for Pigsy, helping Sandy paint his boat, and then partying all night with May, and like he's just basically never giving himself a break. Kang comes in and tells him about, you know, Monkey King's ability to make duplicates of himself and shows him how to do it, thinking it won't work, but oh no, it does. Now it's a bunch of, like MKs running around everywhere, just causing havoc and doing all sorts, and you know, when it all kind of falls apart, MK comes in, starts getting rid of them one by one, and just kind of it really, just duplicate.
Tang's
40.
reaction
Oh yeah, I love it.
makes me laugh so much when he like freaks out that he could actually like do the thing.
Yeah.
I was deceased.
Kang's just always doing something funny, I feel. Like
He's
Yes.
such a funny freaking character.
Yeah, it's a great
Yes.
character, just in general.
yeah.
And that brings me to like I guess a good point to touch on.
Yeah.
Monkey Kid is a hilarious show.
Mm.
Because I see it getting like, I know comedies are like subjective, but like this is a really funny show. It's really like well written. It's really well like the gags are very well paced. There's a unique like lots of visual comedy. The characters' faces are so like wildly expressive.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the number one thing that sets it apart from its contemporaries, because people compare it a lot to our favorite ninja show.
No, Ninjago, not another comparison.
And like Monkey Kid forges its own identity, I think, through using its storytelling format to its advantage and the animation to its advantage, because that's the stuff you could only do in like 2D animation. A lot of these gags.
Never forget Red Sun talking about not driving a vehicle unless it has like 2 alternate builds or whatever.
Classic.
It has a lot of like meta jokes too.
It's so good.
And that's what this episode was a lot of. You know, the
Yeah.
clones and their personalities and their interactions.
Very self-aware.
The whole clone thing is perfect from a set perspective too. So if you have some duplicate MK minifigures, just use them as MK clones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because he's in all but like 3 of the sets.
Yeah.
This episode is always like ingrained in my memory as like the Porty one.
Yeah.
The poor
Just like the
Porty.
DJ MK at the end.
Porty.
Just the way that he pronounces his words just cracks me up.
DJ MK.
Porty.
The way you like when MK has to like, I don't know, make like get rid of him or whatever, and it's like the thing of him being like, never forget the music.
The DJ one is definitely the best like alternate personality of him.
I like the psycho painter as well.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
Keeping Sandy captive.
I feel the
Just
pain
good.
of that.
Okay. So, another tangent, but I have a question.
Yes.
We're remarking on how late we are, how late all this is. They've never released the soundtrack, have they?
No.
Because I love it.
They have.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Every time he cruises on his
Really
like,
good.
And his noodle.
the
Wheel.
music they play.
Yeah.
There's so many good tracks. It's kind of a shame that they don't release the soundtrack. I hope they do at some point, and I'm sure they will when like the show's been, maybe around for a bit longer over here. But like for now, I think it's they're just not releasing music.
I need
Right.
my monkey beats to chill
Yeah.
and deliver noodles.
Yeah,
to-
lo-fi
Yes.
monkey beats.
To, like, do like work to and stuff.
But yeah, this episode was
To
freaking
pull
funny.
my hair
It's
out
like,
and clone.
Yeah.
To Porty.
To Porty.
low-key, lo-fi monkey
Dude,
beats.
I
to
just
42.
love how MK becomes like borderline bald. Like half his
Yeah.
hair is missing on his head, and they very clearly show that.
Just a bad haircut.
And
bro.
just like all the side effects, like the hair ending up in the food and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's pretty fun. Like
yeah.
really good
do
episode.
a lot of fun stuff. with
The attention to detail
Yeah.
as well, just that they'll go to for like bits. Is just I have a lot of respect for it.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's that. It's
Yeah.
really freaking funny.
It's just a funny episode.
It's funny,
40.
and some people might criticize that. Oh, it's just gags, but like,
Yeah.
it's really
Oh, yeah.
freaking funny gags.
I feel like that's kind of what makes it like one of my favorite shows, because I feel like a lot of shows now they'll have goofy moments, but then they're also focusing a lot on like serious kind of storytelling aspect, and that's great. But this show is, I feel like especially in the first season, it did a good job of like just being silly, and it was like a nice kind of break from that, especially in like when it came out, the way things kind of were. It was like a nice break sort of thing, just needed something to laugh at.
I love me a good dark, like edgy plot and character motivations as an next guy, but I also love some just earnest, fun comedy and some hijinks. And this show does hijinks better than most.
Yeah.
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 I feel like Monkey Kid is at its best when it's like very fast paced, very comedic, and I think like episodes like this, it works really well.
I agree.
I think there's a lot of kids shows where I don't really like the hyperactive, like spazzy
Yeah.
approach, but I think it's just because the comedy is not that good. I think
Yeah.
MK, like, the show just has like some really good gags and like just a really good sense of humor. So I can live with how speedy it is because it's just good quality.
It's because it deftly balances like the dialogue, where it's very well written but fast moving, so you'll process a joke like a few seconds after it's said, and then it's followed up with like over the top visual gags. Like they
Yeah.
have both. It's balanced.
There's a lot of
Analyzing
good,
comedy is hard because like I'm just like, oh, it's funny,
It's funny.
but like
Yeah.
no, there's a reason it's funny.
There's a lot of like I feel like a lot of the times jokes can land better because of the visual stuff. Like the way things are animated can definitely like make something better. And I feel like sometimes that I've laughed harder at jokes than I would have done if it was like a different show, just because the animators have gone all out with it and just been nuts. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
mix of like all three things, like great animation, like great dialogue, but like just the voice acting is freaking fantastic
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like they just all go together hand in hand, in
Yeah.
hand.
Hand in hand and hand in hand.
Yeah.
So many things.
Yeah.
Right.
Good episode.
But right. Well, shall we move on then?
Yeah.
Episode 3 is titled "Coming Home," and it's a May episode.
Yes.
May gets asked
Episode. Oh,
May gets asked to house sit by her parents, and then MK and Stanley come over, and whilst they're busy, like trying to, fix an arcade machine, like pinball thing with duct tape, May's running around a house trying to stop this kind of bull clone from stealing this, like magical sword that can shoot lasers apparently, and that's really cool. And she does it, and yeah, I'm struggling.
This was an odd one.
Yeah. This
Right.
episode kind of scared me.
It kind of scared you.
Yeah, because it felt like they would only do one season, because it felt like they wrapped up May's whole character arc in one episode. So I kind of had like the
Yeah.
fear, okay, they want to wrap everything up in this season.
No, that does make sense, and I did kind of get that. I kind of got that vibe too, but I don't know. I just think they wanted to do at least like one episode per character.
Yeah.
And I get that, and I think this one was. It was all right as a first step into her character.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, that's kind of like the most that we've gotten into her character, but it might change soon.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
I
Hopefully.
hope
It was-
they do more with her.
It was really funny. I like that the one bull clone just went ham. Like
yeah.
that dude went all in to an unnecessary degree, but it was not enough.
I feel like the episode did two things for me personally. One, it fleshed out a character that I already really liked, and did so with pretty solid story and visuals. And two, it established the minion follower type characters as actually competent threats.
Yeah.
With the bull clone just kind of tearing through the place and grabbing
always
vehicles,
nice
ripping
when-
stuff up left and right. Like it was good.
It is always nice to see like the mooks not be portrayed as like complete clowns,
Yeah,
even though for all intents and purposes they are.
yeah.
But no, May is an interesting character. So she struggles a lot with living up to her family's legacy. She's clearly uncomfortable with like, the weight of her lineage and stuff. And that's kind of the recurring trend. But like, okay. Journey to the West lore time. Is she like actually a descendant of an actual dragon?
Yes.
Or like she's just harnessing the spirit of a dragon?
I think
I think it's descendant.
she's supposed to be an actual descendant of a dragon.
I think they established that, didn't they? That
Yeah,
she was
I mean,
related.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's
Did.
pretty literal even in the show.
Yeah,
In
that's
the
fair enough.
original Journey to the West, one of the characters was a dragon that changed forms between a dragon and a horse pretty frequently, if I'm remembering
Horse.
correctly.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Is like if that lore is it's meant to be taken literally, then I fully expect to see dragon form May at some point in the future. Yeah,
It's not as if it's
Based.
like
it will be swag.
we've not seen like kind of dragon stuff. It's just that it's not like her being like her turning into a dragon. It's more just kind of there in the
Yeah.
background when she's like powering up.
But it'd be so epic.
It would be. I don't know.
And then they could release a set like they did for DBK, where it's like, oh, it's supposed to be a mech, quote unquote, but in reality, it will just be a giant May dragon.
Just kidding. It's not a vehicle. It's actually May. And then there's still a May minifigure attached.
Like Mia's water dragon.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. I don't know. My only critique is that I feel like it was kind of like abbreviated.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like the episode just because like it's May and I love May, but I was kind of after the episode I definitely was kind of sat there like that kind of just that's kind of a big arc thing that I feel like it would be better handled in like multiple episodes over like course of time rather than it all being wrapped up in one. You know?
Yeah.
I agree.
I feel like that the whole family thing would have been a good character motivation for May, like long term, but they kind of just wrapped that up.
I guess so. Maybe at the time they didn't, when they were, writing the episode, they didn't know if the show was gonna be carrying on past a certain point, so they thought we'll just wrap it up now. But I guess the issue arises now of like in the future if they do stuff with are they gonna just like rehash that? Or are they going to think of something new? Because I don't really know what they're going to think of. And, well, I guess I have an idea, but, like, it just
all
seems
depends
on
season 3.
I could see them rehashing it in the sense of, like, it becomes her immediate family versus her extended family. Like, maybe, like, aunts and uncles or, like, grandparents come into the fold. Like, you think this girl is worthy? What are you talking about? But the parents are adamant that, she's done her part and is competent in her abilities and this, that, and the other thing. So it becomes like less her versus her parents living up to that expectations and more her living up to the expectations of the rest of her family. If they wanted
I
to
could see it more of just like I don't even think they need to like keep the family element necessarily. I think they could just so make her plot integral, which from the sets she probably is.
Sorry,
go ahead. No, it was just gonna be like something struggles to fulfill her duty, something self-doubt, something can I really do this, something maybe she tries and fails, has to go on a journey of self-discovery, blah 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 blah. There are things they could do.
Have her doubt herself if she's worthy of having the sword or the dragon power, I guess.
The rings. Yes, I do.
What are those rings?
I was gonna say something similar, but it was more like because I don't know the way that things ended, with the second season. I was thinking that if they did do something, it would probably end up still being linked to MK in some way, but it would be more just him being like, like I don't know how to explain it because then I'd have to talk about season 2 because I realized something while rewatching season 1 and it's just kind of made me go, huh, okay.
Oh no, this is a realization.
Not so much realization, like it's more kind of like me probably like thinking up ideas in my head and it's probably just not anything that they're gonna do.
Go ahead and say it since you've already built it up, even if it breaks chronology.
Okay, well, like the thing is that when I was rewatching episodes, I because I've rewatched season 2 again recently as well, and I realized that like a lot of times in season 2, May seems a bit more kind of, I guess impatient with MK. Like she's kind of slowly getting kind of annoyed, and I figured that what it's probably not going to be. This was just me like thinking of an idea of like, you know, they're really close in the first season, and then the second season she's kind of getting a bit more like annoyed, and then by the third season it gets to kind of like a point because like MK doesn't have his powers anymore, right? Like that's
Right.
the implication is that he doesn't. So he's busy training and stuff, but like maybe he's under the impression that like, oh, he's gonna be the one to take charge of the rings, but it's actually May that needs to, and it becomes a thing of like I guess them falling out in some kind of way because of, you know, because the story focuses so much on MK, but like there's other people as well in the story. Like May's still like a powerful person, and she's
Yeah.
kind of not. She's always kind of ending up on the side of things, you know.
True.
And when she could do a lot, rather than focusing so much on like, oh, MK doing this and like training and becoming, you know, just becoming powerful again. Just like while he's doing that, May can do something, you know.
I mean, based like again, I should know better by now than to make sweeping claims based on the sets, but like I'm 99% sure that is what they're gonna be doing.
Like, because like I said, it could just be like a whole like because sometimes what can happen as like seasons go by is that just you forget how certain characters are written sometimes, and so the vibes of them can shift. But it's just something I noticed, like, because I'd already felt kind of weird watching season 2 May and being like, huh, something feels kind of off about her, and then I realized it's because she was like a lot more kind of sniffy with him, at least how I'm remembering it. She was like
fair enough.
kind of, you know, but yeah, that's just me like theorizing.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll tie all this in and we can get some more May content because she's definitely like the character with the most potential.
Yeah.
At least that's been demonstrated so far.
Yeah.
Overall, good but slightly rushed. Hopefully this isn't the last. We will
I really like MK's arc with the pinball machine or whatever.
Yes!
I like the payoff for that.
It was good.
Spends the whole episode trying to fix that dang thing.
As always, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but freaking funny. Like, I love the comedy.
I also love the music in this episode a lot.
Heck yeah.
They're just possessions. They can be replaced. Except for my prized pinball machine. That thing is priceless.
R.I.P.
Alright.
Alright.
Moving on to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Episode 4, Noodles or Death. So, in this episode, Tang and Pigsy...
I choose noodles.
Tang and Pigsy are out at the market getting food and stuff, and they meet this lady who's, you know, like, just come back here, I got cool vegetables and stuff. And Pigsy's a simp, so he follows. You know, and then, you know, they fall down a hole and, Spider Queen. So,
yes.
Sandy and MK and May, they all realize that the both of them are missing, and they go on a rescue mission, you know, water adventure on land, use a speedboat to drive through the city and get there. Fight Spider Queen. She gets some of his, like, MK's hair, which is magical, I guess. And then, you know, it's setting up for future stuffs.
Yes.
So
that once again, hilarious. There were like all the rescue mission announcer gags.
Yeah.
Perfect. The lamp shading of like only caring about Pigsy, but Tang is also like in danger.
Operation Save Pigsy and Tang from the Spider Demon. Success.
I really
love
like the gag in the very beginning where May's like, not so creepy now that I installed cameras at all.
Oh, May.
We love May.
I know last week we were talking about sets. I'd mentioned the story with the Pigsy and I'm gonna get a name wrong again. Is it Chang'un? Something like that. And after finding out that story, I feel like when you find out the stuff from the original story, suddenly the like characterizations within the show make like more sense. Like there's more context for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it just makes it like even better. Because you look at it and you go, yeah, they were really like faithful to the source material in a lot of ways.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
That is nice to see.
It's very nice.
I don't know. When I watched this episode the first time, I wasn't too impressed by Spider Queen, but with the benefit of hindsight,
Yeah.
she's pretty based.
Yeah. It's I think it was an episode when I first watched it, I was kind of like, I'm a little bit bored right now. Not that it wasn't funny, it was just kind of I don't know what it was about it. It's just out of all the episodes we'd had so far, this one had felt kind of the most like kind of disappointing out of all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But like rewatching it, I definitely kind of enjoy it. It's still not the best, I don't think, but it's like funny. It's consistently like just.
I mean, it's a primarily comedic episode but also does the job of setting up a future important villain.
It's very much a future investment episode.
Yeah.
I think the placement is kind of weird because I mean this is episode 4, so it was like part of the second batch of episodes.
Yeah.
So this is like the second batch of episodes you ever get, and it's already like introducing someone that you're not gonna be seeing for the rest of the season. It feels like it comes kind of out of nowhere, and while it might be a good episode, at the time I definitely felt like it was kind of random.
It was very random, and it was kind of like subversion in a way because we expect the whole season to be about DBK, and yet really he's barely in it.
Well,
which is one of the things I appreciate, but it did kind of make it feel random.
You've just mentioned how like it seems like a weird kind of place to put it, but like as I'm looking at the episodes now, like the episode titles and thinking back on the order of things, I'm realizing kind of like I don't even know where else they could have put this, to be fair. Like they can't put it at the very beginning. And they can't put it anywhere later past like episode 7, so it just
It could have.
I guess it was either there or like they swap it with one of the ones before episode 8. But like I feel like 5 and 6 need to go together because of the characters that are in it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, I don't know.
It's not necessarily that I think it needed to happen later in the show. I just think the way it's written, no matter where you would have put it, would have been kind of random.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Still good though. Still funny.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's the constant.
It's good that they set it up to begin with instead of it like just a random,
just having her come out of nowhere.
It comes out of nowhere in the next special.
Season 2 comes around and be like, Spider Queen, who's that?
Exactly.
It's
decidedly less than ideal.
Yeah, it would save them having to like spend time setting up during that special, which to be fair, like I'm glad they didn't, because that special is great as it is, and it wouldn't I wouldn't want them to like have to use up time in order to introduce the character,
I agree.
If they had time like now to do it, then it would be a good point to do it.
It's low-key one of my favorite things, is even if it is occasionally messy, I like that they introduced, like I said, a lot of villains that aren't DBK, Red Sun, and Lady Iron fan, because in the first season, because then when they appear later on, it has more weight, and that becomes exponentially better later on.
And also keep things fresh by having different kind of villains, different kinds of stories in one season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a good thing because coming into season 1, it's like, well, what are they gonna do? Like, I knew about obviously the pretty soon we can talk about the race and stuff, but like, I had no idea how they're gonna have a season of all they're doing is like confronting DBK and his family, and I really liked what they ended up introducing. So this is one of the good other people to
I
confront.
mean, I know how they would have done it. They would have done it like Chima did it, and they didn't do it well. Having like, oh well, this week this is a new contrived plot from Red Sun.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the scheme, and then it doesn't work, and then we get bored. You know, I'm not a fan of the cartoon format like that. I appreciate when there's variety.
Yeah.
Overall, good episode, but yeah, not like the best.
It's a decent one.
It's an investment episode.
Yeah, it's a weird one where it's like, you spend the whole time being like, oh, is it like just a random kind of filler one, and then it's not. You have to be there for like the very end of it, for like set up for later on.
True.
I kind of like that though with some of the character episodes. Like, it's not always just hijinks. Like, even if you don't realize it in the moment, it's like setting up for things. And it's kind of, even not like necessarily with this show, with like other shows as well, they're starting to have this pattern of like, oh, you think you can like just get the episode not on what's happening, but then, you know, obviously the next season will come around or something, and then you're like, oh, never mind, it was important, I needed it.
So true.
Yeah,
I need
yeah. So
Swag.
is that everything on this episode?
More or less.
All right. So. Guess we'll move on to episode 5, which is like halfway through now.
You're so right.
Oh,
You're
okay.
so left.
Time to try and explain this one. Episode 5, Calabash. So
yeah.
woken up by this random earthquake and realizes that he's late for work. So he rushes around, getting ready, runs downstairs, and he's like, I'm late. And then Pixie's like smiling and happy, which is weird. And he gives him the day off. So MK goes off, has a day off. Then he realizes soon enough that something is wrong because Pixie smiled, and he never smiles, which is just really concerning. I'm so sorry, Pixie. So he's, you know, trying to figure out what's going on, and then all the different characters are like popping up and being like, hi, you know, and interacting, but everything's
everything's so perfect. Everything's perfect. It's perfect.
Like he went on a like date with May, and like Sandy was doing like, what was it, romantic river cruises or something.
Yes.
And we find out that it's the work of these two demons, the gold and silver demons, who have trapped him in this thing called a calabash, and they're trying to, I don't really know, they didn't plan anything, really. They just had to trap him in there.
The gold and silver diamonds!
But yeah, they've trapped him in there, and they're trying to, you know, they've realized he's onto them, so they're trying to fix things, but of course that's not going well. And, you know, MK eventually gets out, and he goes to fight them, but they run away, and that's Calabash, really.
I remember when we were first watching this, because we'd always have to get it through like the random Malaysian TV recording, like Google Drive, and then it would be like out of sync with the audio was like a split second off or whatever. And trying to patch it together and jumping ahead to test it and seeing how May acts in this episode, I was like, what the heck is going on with this? But then, you know, it just gets funnier as you're watching it. Then you realize that it's all like a sham, and just the way that they have to like improvise to try and keep the illusion going is freaking hilarious.
I for one love Bionicle Time Trap.
All roads lead back to Bionicle.
Like,
this episode's like a really funny episode.
This is my favorite of the season. Bold statement, but it's classic. It's iconic.
It introduces like two of the best kind of characters. They're just so funny, and I like it's just everything about it is so great. Even like the silly stuff. Like I love the with the date part with MK and May. It becomes so like anime, and it's like what it okay, this is
Yep.
happening now.
It's like they're making fun of like best friends must like date trope.
Yeah.
And it's great.
It's
I
so
feel like
funny.
that was also a pretty smart way to establish that they're just friends.
Yeah.
Like by doing the opposite in a way.
And having it be like so gross now.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
it
good.
was just an amazing episode. I love it. And I love their voice actors.
Yeah.
They're so talented.
Very
And
talented.
also I really loved how like when May and Sandy talked, like they talked in the same accent when MK wasn't
Yeah.
hearing it. That was so smart.
Whenever they like
Yeah, that was well done.
I think it's like after, isn't it after the reveal that it's like the demon?
Yeah.
That's when it becomes more apparent. Like the voices kind of change, so that they're speaking more with an accent rather than
So good. The attention to detail.
I loved the Sandy joke. You know how he's like he hasn't cemented his role in the group dynamic
Yeah.
because he's just not in episodes yet.
Yep.
I love that. Yeah.
The show's very meta, and we see a little bit of that early on. It gets much more meta in season 2.
Realize
But,
Sandy makes a lot of the like meta jokes as well. Like he's
He
usually
does.
the one saying it.
Yeah.
It's either him or like Tang.
Tang.
Yeah.
Oh, Tang. What a
We
legend.
love Tang.
Yeah, no, this is another one of those like it's just funny, but
Yeah.
it's just good, and I just love it. It makes me smile.
I think that's
This
just
show
the
is
whole,
just
like,
it is a treat.
that's just the show. I think it's like the whole thing is just funny. Like
Yep.
Yeah.
you know,
It is
yeah,
a treat
was
to
about-
consume.
Yeah, it's just a funny show, and I find it very hard sometimes to kind of look at it sometimes through like a analytical sort of lens because I'm just having too much fun with everything.
Yeah.
Like, that I don't really want to think about it.
I mean, that's the thing, right? There's the two
Yeah.
different ideologies. You know, it's this show would be better if it had, a deep lore and,
Yeah.
interconnected stuff like other things. And I'm like, well, would I like to see that? Sure. I'm sure that would be good. Would I want to see it in place of what we're already getting? I don't honestly know.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel that intrinsically one is necessarily better than the other. I feel like they're both perfectly valid ways to do storytelling in animated cartoons and kids media. I think this show definitely balances a lot of heart, a lot of action, a lot of comedy, without necessarily going that route. So I don't know. I love what we are already seeing. I'm curious to see if the show ever does develop in like tonality, but I wouldn't change how it is at this moment. I'm having too much enjoyment with it.
Yeah,
I also feel like they get to cheat around that a bit because they have the deep lore, like in the sense they can draw back references from Journey to the West.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
So they don't have to establish it themselves. They can just be a fun cartoon show, but they can reference like the deep lore from Journey to the West.
That's a good point.
I think that even if that is the case, they still do like they're aware that like there are people who won't know the story, so they still try and briefly explain some of the stuff. Not like all of it, but they'll still kind of do a job of like just kind of being like, okay, so this happened, and then this, and that's the thing. And it does it so fast, and you're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, they do a pretty good job.
They've only done it a few times, I think. There are definitely some like references they've made where I've only understood it after like reading parts of like the actual original source, but like
Right.
for all the important kind of stuff, when they're trying to establish something that's like story important, they'll bring it up and they'll just do like the quickest rundown ever, and it still makes sense. You still know what you need to know, basically. So
I liked. I know it's later on, but I liked MK calling out Wukong's past like
Yeah.
aggressions or like
Yeah.
stuff that he's done to show that he's notorious for being bullheaded.
Yeah. Some of
Yeah.
the stuff he does is mental.
And that's what, that's why like I'm able to look at it and be like, okay, this shows it's being written very intelligently. It's not appealing to like, lowest common denominator cartoon comedy. It kind of there's enough appeal there for people of, younger ages and also older, while still being a fairly episodic, comedy cartoon.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show, like, you can do a quality show in multiple different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, funny episode. Gold and Silver Demons, my favorite characters. I want their minifigures. I want to buy the set that has them in it one day. Yeah. Happy.
Very happy. They have names. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they aren't just
Me
like the gold
either.
and silver demons.
Isn't like, yeah, I know one of them's Yin.
Yeah.
I think the other one's Jing.
I think so. I should probably know their names if they're my favorite characters.
It's alright.
Gold and Silver Demons. Yeah, Jin and Yin.
Okay.
Yin.
Yeah.
They're so epic. They're almost as epic as Big Chungus.
Oh my god,
but
no.
not quite.
Not quite.
I don't see them celebrating Chungsmas,
Knew that
so
was
they're
coming.
not very epic.
I knew this was coming.
It could happen. It is inevitable, like Thanos.
No. Cease.
That's right. Instead of what is it in Hawkeye? It's like Thanos was right. It's Chungus was right.
And Chungus was right.
No.
Monkey was left. No.
Monkey. All right.
Okay.
To the next episode.
Next
The next
one.
episode. This is episode 6, the Great Wall Race, or just Mario Kart, I guess.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way.
Yeah.
Mario.
In this episode, there is a race. Shocker. May's been training forever, and her and MK get in an argument, and it ends up becoming like, oh, I could beat you in a race. And no. They're trying to enter the race for like the Immortal Peaches, and they explain a bit about like the Monkey King and how he became immortal through the peaches and stuff. And Red Sun is also part of the race because he wants to get the peach, and then his parents join in just, I guess, because they hate their son.
That's literally what they do.
Oh, it would be a
Like,
shame if we crushed our son's aspirations now, wouldn't it? That would just be so evil.
And then they do like an evil laugh.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. So, there's a race, and do things. Gold and Silver Demons are back. They're
Yeah.
commentating, and it's great. Red Sun's about to win, and then, May and MK resolve their differences. They use the staff to create a cool little car thing, complete the destroyer car, win the race, try to eat the trophy for some reason. Because they think it's an actual peach that they win, but it's not. Just a trophy. And that's the episode.
Yeah,
It's
mean-
literally just racing.
it's very good, but again, like,
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
just
That's
a
what-
race.
I don't have too much to say about that one. It
Nor do
Yeah.
was a fun episode, but it wasn't really like a lot of substance in there.
No,
DK
not really.
getting stuck in the mountain again was hilarious.
Yeah, like
it was-
they,
it was
they
fun,
weave
like,
like
how they-
character stuff into the comedy.
Yeah,
And I
Red
appreciate
Sun
it.
really got to
You
shine
don't
in
have
that
much
one
luck
again.
with mountains, do you?
Yeah. No, I feel like it's tradition for like every show to have like a race episode, and they're
Yeah.
always like great. But
Like
yeah, not really,
with
not really a lot of discussion value to them.
I think it was just like a fun kind of episode thing. Like, it was nice to see DBK's like family back, because
yeah.
because when the season's over, we don't really see them again. We'll see them like maybe once, and that's it.
Yeah,
So
I suppose we
But-
should mention like the recurring subplot with the mysterious substance.
Ah, yes.
Mysterious box.
Mysterious power source.
They introduced that at the end of episode 1, and we see it every now and then.
There's just a lot of
Yeah.
vague hints right at the very end of an episode that doesn't explain much, but something is happening with DBK.
Yeah.
Something is happening.
That's why he's not been around, because they're too busy like sorting that. But they'll appear every now and then, just for comedy, haha.
For funny.
And I mean,
So yeah.
it's always nice to see them, and I don't know. Gold and Silver Demons are funny, and it's kind of it, really.
More or less.
Wasn't there any
that's
like
okay.
May and MK moment in this episode? I have a hard time remembering.
Because it was at the start they'd gotten into an argument because May had entered the race, but MK had made the weird assumption that she had entered it for him for some reason.
Okay.
And they got into a fight, and then MK joined the race because he was like, "Oh, I can beat you in a race." Then he crashed into a car, and they resolved the differences, and
goes up to a race event driving the noodle truck when everyone else is actually driving regular vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great episode.
Yeah, I think that's a
I don't really
pretty
have a
good
lot to say
aspect of
about
it.
it.
But yeah, I don't remember this one super well since I haven't watched it since it first came out.
Yeah. Is that everything then?
Yeah.
I think so for that one.
All right. Okay, on to episode 7 then, which is Impossible Delivery. So, we see a bit of MK and Monkey King training. Monkey King tells him that he's doing great, he just needs to focus more, and MK for some reason doesn't seem to think he has a problem with focusing until it's pointed out to him. So the whole episode is him trying to make this singular delivery that he just keeps getting distracted by like arcade games and like demons wanting to play football with him, and like he stresses himself out so much to the point he just creates a spooky forest in his mind, and I guess
I love the spooky forest.
And he delivers the noodles, and Monkey King ordered the noodles because it was absolutely totally him teaching him a lesson, and he wasn't just ordering noodles because he was like hungry or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, I learned about focus." And Monkey King's that's great.
Real great,
it's
but
not my order. And the episode.
See, okay.
But he got the order wrong.
I know that this episode's like moral of the story was like commit yourself to your goals and stay focused on that which you need and want to achieve. But for me, the takeaway was don't trust random children playing in the street because they will actually steal and devour your soul.
They are demons.
I love the random, like, low-key demons.
Like the fact that is established as like a lore, actual, possibly could happen thing. Just random children in the street could actually be demons. So do not trust them because they will actually kill you. Like,
I do love that.
That episode overall had some really good jokes. Like, that was one of them with the football playing demons. And when he goes into the spooky forest, there's like the skeleton, random dead body. I will report to the police later.
yeah.
The talk between him and Monkey King, like it was just the whole like section of that was just not only like well animated, like from the training up until like the very end after like a few minutes, but just like the visual stuff and the jokes and like just everything about that segment I love. I've probably watched that bit more times than the actual episode.
Really?
Because I like to go back and like rewatch some sections of the episodes that are just like that's like stick in my mind, because I'm just like I want to look at the animation and like
the animation is very nice.
It's so good. I cry every time.
Don't cry. This is a podcast.
Crying. Tears are flowing. Anyway.
Yeah. Very good episode. I feel like I again don't have a lot to say on it specifically.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think we mentioned this part earlier where he talks about like things from the journey to the West that like Monkey
Ah,
King
that's
did.
where that
And-
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really fun how like he cuts him off right before he could say Buddha.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, lots of like weaving that stuff in, and the dynamic that that Monkey King has. We haven't really mentioned him yet, but like he's such a good character.
Yeah.
Yes.
He is just he's literally Goku,
Yep.
not just the voice actor, and it makes me happy. Oh.
Like,
So
he's just so
good.
well like written. I think he's just a
Yep.
funny character.
The
I don't know.
accidental mentor.
Yeah, and he's retired in quotation marks.
Yeah, I am a big fan of him. Any scene he's in is a treat.
It's always great. I liked a lot of the, after this, when MK gets out of the forest and he starts just like driving along. I kind of like that particular sequence because I don't know, there's something about just having like that moment, that kind of relaxing moment with like music playing and just kind of going through all this scenic stuff and because everything was so frantic up until that point, and then it's like a nice kind of calm down. It's like
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
finally just like focusing and not to mention it's like we talk a lot about the animation, but like the backgrounds as well are just so beautiful. Like everything in the show.
I do tend
visually
to like
incredible.
forget about mentioning the backgrounds, but they are very gorgeous. The art direction
Yeah.
in general is just on another level.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Imagine an AU where we got a Monkey Kid show that just looks like the Ninjago show. I don't think
I'd
it would
rather
be
not.
I don't think it would be nearly as good,
It won't be.
or have made like nearly as much of an impression.
I mean, you can imagine it. You just need to go find that 3D commercial
The
that they
ad.
have.
Yeah.
A search
Oh
for my
yeah, you're
successor.
right.
Always gotta like bring this back up.
Yeah, you forget
That is 3D Monkey.
I am not aware of this. What are you talking
We'll have
about?
to find
Like
it for you.
the
It's
original.
iconic.
We originally watched it through like someone recording it on Malaysian TV,
Malaysian.
right? So like there's an ad break. It has like a little plug for the sets right before the actual ad break, and it's just like it's got like I want to say it's Malaysian actors like dubbing it or something like that, and it's just like so ridiculous, but it's a gem.
We'll show it to you after. Anybody who watched it as it was coming out, they know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It was
Big
amazing.
ups for the nostalgia.
I'm really glad that they went the 2D route though. Like
Oh yeah.
Me too.
genuinely. Yeah. There's some aspects with like 3D that are better, but I think maybe it's just me being biased, but like 2D you can just kind of there are some things you can do with 2D that you just can't with like 3D. You can't like achieve the same sort of
I just think for
Yeah,
a show like this, it's a much better fit,
yeah.
and it gives it such a unique identity that it just wouldn't be otherwise.
Yeah. I feel like it wouldn't stand out as much in a 3D
Nope.
kind of medium. So
Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I would let's go to the next episode.
next episode. Okay. Episode 8, Skeleton Key. This is like the start of where everything starts coming together and stuff. So
Yes, we are introduced to the mayor.
I love the mayor.
I love him. He's crazy. He gives MK the key to the city, which can open anything and everything. Like not just doors, just anything.
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 Anything. Anything.
So him and May go around through the city, just going crazy with this key. Redstone also wants to get his hands on it because they have, the family have finally dug up the weird thing that's just underneath the little lair, and they found out it's like this big magical chest thing with a lock on it, and they can't open it. But Redstone knows they need that key. So eventually, Red Sun and MK come head to head. Like, I'm gonna take that key. He takes it. There's a whole chase scene. He doesn't like have it at first, but then Iron Fan steps in, fights off both MK and May at the same time, gets the key, and they leave, and they open up the little chest thing, and that's Skeleton Key. It's the episode.
Dude, Red Sun straight up just blew up MK's apartment.
Yeah.
He just was waiting in there too. Like he blew a hole into the side and then waited there for who knows how long just to blow another hole out of the wall.
I like his entire house got destroyed, and then MK was like, "You better not have touched my stuff."
Yeah.
And
What does stuff include exactly?
All his Monkey King stuff, yeah. All his
merch.
Yeah, exactly.
True. He's
I like that he did
lifelong
have
fan.
Monkey King like action figures or whatever up on his bed or whatever.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
Mm.
I will say this is the episode out of the season I tend to forget about, personally speaking. But with the benefit of hindsight, I really like it because again, it's one of the last times we see like Red Sun in a big role. So like I treasure his appearances, and he's a joy of a character to witness.
I love that because this episode it also establishes a bit more of the dynamic with the Red Sun and May, because they've got their own like kind of thing going on. But and I like that because it's something that carries on into like later on as well. It's not just like a one-off interaction that they have.
True.
It's very cool. I like that a lot. Yeah.
I agree. It is a very based episode. Very not cringe.
Simply too based.
So, got any thoughts? Anything to add?
I like the little scene where MK unlocked his mind with the key.
Yeah, that was very cool. I love how that looked.
Yeah, that looked really cool.
I'm not sure if it has any.
Yeah, I don't know if
Probably
it's just
like-
a gag or if that has any deeper meaning. But
This is where we find out, like, in another like future season, if it ever comes, that there was something behind it. We just had to wait.
Most likely. But yeah, that's all I got for that one.
Yeah. All right. Am I right to move on then?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Episode 9, Macaque, my favorite episode.
Yes.
same.
So in this episode, we introduced to Macaque, the six-eared macaque. He's like evil Monkey King, basically.
Evil monkey.
He evil.
Monkey.
He comes in after MK feels that Monkey King isn't teaching him the things that he needs to learn. He's kind of like, I need to know hero stuff, and Monkey King's like, no, you're gonna bash open this ancient mural because I want like a little breakfast nook thing. So he starts training with Macaque, who's like saved the city from this giant shadow thing.
He's a totally not evil guy.
Yeah. Should trust him with everything. They train, and then eventually Monkey King clues in that he's been training with Macaque, and eventually the two like fight each other in probably the best fight sequence just ever I've ever seen. I love it so much.
You've ever seen?
Ever.
I love it.
But I do. It is pretty up there. I won't lie. In terms of animation,
especially when it like first came out, it was just the best. And they fight each other, and MK, throws the staff like the final blow and defeats Macaque, and at the end of the episode, it's just introducing Macaque.
yeah, and I like it because like you get to see a little bit of a lot of MK and Monkey King's like dynamic start to really form in a more serious manner.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Like, because when I'd rewatched season 2 and then come back to rewatch this episode, I was like, I became aware of like the because the stuff they talked about in like season 2 with like Macaque, it's still kind of, when you look back at this episode, you kind of go like, like it's not just like he was kind of brought in and they didn't have kind of any idea, like the things he's talking about in like his in stuff in season 2, it's like it's hinted at in like season 1 through
They've
his
clearly had a
his character.
plan for him, basically, that they initiated from the early stage.
Yeah, and it's really great. I love Macaque a lot. He's one of my favorites. I think he's just an interesting
Out
villain.
of the show, I definitely think he is the villain with the most potential for interesting, complex stories. As much as I might like, stuff people like Red Sun for just being like awesome presences, or the villain of season 2 for being the best character ever. I will say that Macaque probably has he has just enough of like an emotional range and like a backstory you kind of want to like know about.
Yeah, for sure. I just
stuff's clearly gone down.
I just like that diabolical uncle kind of figure he.
Yeah.
Well, the stream pooped for a second or something. Hopefully that didn't end it. It like literally flashed for a second that it lost connection, but
oh no,
I guess we'll see in like 10 seconds or so.
I guess.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Technology is great when it works.
It looks like it's still fine, but
yeah,
I can't double check. If I start turning on the sound to hear what happened, like then it'll just like start this like echo effect.
I get you.
I don't know.
But looks like it's still fine.
Like I was saying with summarizing the episode, the fight scene is definitely one of the best kind of sequences in this season, at least. Because up until this point, the animation had still been like really great, but then it got to that fight scene and it was just kind of on another level. And it was, I remember watching it and kind of just being in awe of it. Like, just,
it is pretty great to see how they're like the capabilities evolve and like the scale, the fluidity of motion, the transformations. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, when they turned into animals and duplicated each other, and
that just, it's so dynamic. It's such a dynamic form of like combat.
Yeah, they really showed off all the powers, and I feel like that worked a lot with the theme of the episode too, where it's about like what are each of them capable of, and the whole theme of like where Macaque goes, "Show me the real Sun Wukong."
Yeah. It's the first time they actually say his name.
Yeah.
Minor
little. I like how they do that though. Like they don't just keep it to Monkey King. They sometimes alternate between like that and Sun Wukong. It's
it's the people that like, at least from
know him.
It's the people who've known him from back then call him Sun Wukong, and the others Monkey King.
Yeah, it's just a nice little kind of touch.
It makes him feel like a real character with people who like are from his past, who would know him and would address him in that way, versus like the fanboy veneer that like MK has. It's appreciated. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say on that one. It is an excellent episode. It's probably my second favorite.
It was very good.
Favorite from the first season.
Somehow it's not the first time or the last time gonna watch an episode near the end of a show, in this case a season, where this random villain comes out of nowhere at first trying to act like a good guy, and then it goes south from there. Like, it's just weird that, I mean, maybe not weird, but I guess it's interesting that that's kind of a trope, I guess, to introduce someone so late into the series, especially because the next episode is completely different from it. But
true.
Yeah.
So, more to say about the next episode. if everyone's ready to move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, episode 10, the very last episode of the season, is titled "The End Is Here." It is about, Demon Bull King. He's obviously got that chest open and he's obtained this like power now. And MK comes back and finds that the whole city is just kind of gone, like Mad Max kind of thing. It's the apocalypse. So him and his, friends, they go to his lair to try and defeat him. Meanwhile, while DBK is going like a little bit crazy, a little bit loopy, his son and his wife are kind of just like, this isn't Demon Bull King. Something's gotten wrong, so they're trying to fight him as well, and it culminates in like MK fighting alongside Red Sun and Iron Fan to defeat Bull King, and they defeat him, and the little spirit thing just kind of leaves. Demon Bull family goes. We don't know where they've gone, but they go. MK, he manages to get out before he gets crushed by a boulder, and then we find out that the little spirit thing has, been slinking around and possesses a girl in the street, and that's where it ends.
Taking a child.
So this episode is honestly one that I kind of have a bit of a problem with, just because it doesn't feel like the ending was kind of earned. Like the fight
Nope.
with all the characters coming together, it doesn't feel like I should have cared about it. Like, it was cool, but if they had had more time, I feel like I would have cared more,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't really like there was build up to it in the way that they teased the thing with the chest all the time.
Yeah.
But then it's just Monkey Kid was gone and he comes back and it's already like the bull clones already like took over the city and everything.
The
is already, like,
framing was
rocked.
very weird, even from
Yeah.
like the premise. It was just strange.
Yeah.
It's definitely my least favorite. Like without a doubt, it's my least favorite of the whole show. Actually, this is at the bottom. And it did kind of give me pause, which thankfully I didn't need to have pause because they do very well in season 2, as we'll get to eventually. But it did give me some like trepidation as to them telling an interconnected story, because I was like, okay, so after all that like build up, that is the payoff. I wasn't really too happy with it. I didn't like the whole like, oh, we'll fight by your side shtick, and not because I don't like the concept. I'm a big fan of that, of like the villains and the heroes needing to like team up against a greater threat. I just didn't feel like it was really earned. Likewise with the family love, because like, I mean, just a few episodes ago they were like trolling their son, but like I guess that's just how they are,
Yeah.
The animation was good, the music was good, the voice acting was good, but the pacing and the plot was just kind of messy.
Yeah. They had some good character moments, especially for Iron Fan, but I feel like overall it just didn't really work for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why I have a bit of a retrospective issue with the previous episodes in the season, and like how I feel like a bunch of them are random. It's like, yeah, those episodes are good, but at the same time, they like needed to figure out how to write their ending better, and I think it would have been better to like make some sacrifices with some of the earlier episodes to make space for this one to make sense if it was like a 2-parter ending or something like that.
Point.
Because devoting 30 seconds here and there at the very end of an episode, like a few times earlier in the season, did not properly set up this whole plot that they put for their finale. And I was pretty disappointed by this when I watched it.
Oh yeah, this is a common like cartoon pitfall, and I was disappointed that they fell into it. And it's the little teases of a plot stringing along for weeks and then culminating in like a rushed conclusion. Like Tons of shows have done this. Even some of the greats have fallen into this trap. Like Teen Titans even did this from time to time. It's a nature of like a Monster of the Week style type show that tries to do the interconnected plot. Thankfully, they get better at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, not a great ending to the season.
No.
And like, I forgot. I just now remembered. The thing that always stands out to me is like Sandy's like speech to MK, where like all of his friends are like rallying around him, trying to like give him confidence. And it feels like the kind of speech that would be made way later on in the show. After a lot more they've been through together and a lot more they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to complain too much, but I feel like after showering it with praise, I feel like it's only fair.
I feel like that
didn't really work for me.
That's kind of like the only thing though. Like every other episode was pretty good, even when we've not had a lot to say about them. It doesn't mean that they were bad episodes. It's just that like, whilst it's had all this good stuff, it also means it's like sacrificed kind of like a decent end to season 1.
Yeah.
And like, they kind of repeat it and they don't in season 2. Like they do a better job with it in season 2, probably because of how it's gonna like carry on if they do carry on. But like every time when I'm like thinking about it, I just think maybe it was like this because at this point they didn't know exactly, when they were writing these like first set of episodes, they didn't exactly know how long this was gonna go on for.
No, that's 100% what it was.
So,
Yeah.
They needed to give an ending of some kind to DBK. And
yeah.
also like bait, like a tease for a future season that they can like pitch the concept for.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that works.
Yeah, and you're trying to work within the confines of a 10-minute episode and trying to make sure that these episodes are generally watchable without needing to have a specific sequence to it, because these would come up on shuffle on TV or whatever. There's just a lot of constraints that made it fall short, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry.
I think it kind of plays in the whole thing we said earlier. Like Monkey Kid's strength is fast-paced, funny, good comedy, and when they try to do like big lore story, character relationship story in like 10 minutes, it kind of falls flat.
At least at this stage, I feel like they do better later on. But it is definitely a struggle, and it's just format. It's not a matter of one being good and one being bad.
Yeah,
it's a matter of they excel at a certain thing.
Yeah.
But it does really show, I think, why the specials succeed or like excel at being the main like story driven like not episode, but like that's where all the story is like really focused on. It tends to be in the specials because they have so much more time without any like interruptions to devote to getting all of that across.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. The specials are like really good at just they do a really good job of fitting everything in those like 40-minute blocks. I've never like watched either of them and really had an issue with like the story being told, because everything just seems to kind of flow really well, even if it's like them like making a joke and then suddenly going into like the story stuff. It's just because they have the extra time to like do these things. But like when they've got 10-minute kind of increments to try and just stuff things in when they can, it makes it a lot harder.
For sure.
Yeah. So they have to,
you
like,
are
sacrifice
definitely
things.
right.
Yeah. Never enough time.
It was mostly done very well,
Yeah.
But that is kind of a point I continue to watch with a skeptical eye. Is the greater story of Monkey Kid. What will it amount to? What will they even aim to have it amount to? Because they might not. That might not be in their vision to do a quality product. And I mean, I wouldn't be heartbroken if they just didn't fully go all in on that angle ever, and they just keep doing what they're good at.
Yeah.
But season 2 definitely ups the game, and we'll definitely talk about that in the future. But season 1 was very foundational, sets up a lot. And he mostly does it well.
Yep.
Everyone is likable.
When I look at the way that the Monkey Kid is, as like both seasons, it's kind of similar to how I looked at another show called Amphibia when I was first watching it. Because I remember watching the first season and being like, okay, there's a lot of character stuff, but like I feel like nothing's happening really, and like there's a couple story things here and there, but I don't really know like how I feel about it. And then, I got to season 2 and I was like, okay, the first season was like needed to like set up things for future. I just didn't realize it in the moment that
Right.
all of they had like timed things like well. It's just that we didn't have the context for like the later stuff. And I feel like season 2 kind of
It
because
redefines how you view it.
yeah, like it changes the episodes from this season when you look at it from like future perspective of like what's coming. When you have that, then everything else in the past kind of makes a bit more sense.
Right.
And it's like yeah.
That does make total sense.
Yeah. But it's not as if this wasn't like enjoyable even without the kind of context when we just had season 1. It was still like a great season, just setting up stuff.
True.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite good, and it had my interest very much peaked.
I mean, even with criticizing the last episode, it's still 9 good episodes and like 1 episode of a letdown. It's still overall a very good season.
The writing is very good. The character writing is very good. The dialogue, the comedy writing is very good. So even when the plot writing fumbles occasionally, there's still enough strengths to keep it an overall quality product. And that's without even beginning to discuss production values, which are good enough to carry like I can forgive some of the flaws every time I see like the gorgeous animation and the excellent visual comedy and the fantastic music and the background and the artistry. Like, it has a lot going for it.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's why Monkey Kid is awesome.
Monkey Kid.
Familiar tales, new adventures, Monkey Kid.
Monkey.
So
yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah.
Finally, we did it.
We did it. We ended up going from planning on doing a broad discussion to like it ended up being episode by episode, but it worked out pretty well.
True.
I think I'm kind of glad we did episode by episode.
Yeah.
There are just some things within like episodes that kind of needed that. I think, especially if we were looking at if we were saying how it's all kind of setting up for things,
For sure.
Yeah.
Because some things it's setting up for this season, but then other things it's setting up for like future stuff.
We'll have a lot more to talk about in season 2.
Yeah, that is probably going to be a lot longer than this. But saying that, we also don't have context for any future stuff, so that's probably why. So we can like theorize and. Whatnot.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
When season 3?
No idea. I'm sure they'll drop it without any
any
warning.
When's Monkey?
When's Monkey?
Do not know.
All right.
Wow.
I am happy.
May as well.
Good. I guess we should wrap up then.
We may as well.
Meso, can you do the
Hey,
plugs,
AJ.
please? Can you do the plugs, please?
Hey, AJ.
Hey, Meso?
You should try.
I okay.
Just try.
Patreon, we have that. Go.
Yes.
We do have.
Patreon.
What is it, AJ?
It's like a server, Discord server. You join it, and you talk to people, mostly about Bionicle, I guess, because everyone loves Bionicle. You don't like Bionicle? That's okay. You can just lurk in the background, I guess.
Like you.
Yeah, exactly. Just like me. Yeah. You know, you just have to go onto the Patreon and you have to pledge. Is it like $1? And then
Yep.
you're in the Discord. Woo! Huzzah!
And what do we also have? On the I spoiled it.
Biocraft server.
There you go. Yeah.
Ooh.
Minecraft server.
There's a server, Minecraft, and you come on and you walk around and it's cool.
Some
And
like,
you walk
some like the
around.
mining, some like the crafting.
I feel very informed right now.
I prefer the mining.
you know, you just come on and you hang out and yeah.
And where can
Minecraft.
you go to talk about things?
The message boards.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah,
Where are
message
these
board.
message boards at?
I can't give you that answer. I don't.
Channel.com.
What he said. You talk about things and there's contests, Bionicle contests, and something. It's just a lot of Bionicle. Let's be real.
Yeah,
It's,
is.
red one's my favorite. Anyway,
Wow.
then is that everything, or am I missing something?
Twitter, but that's okay. Yeah.
Follow us on
You did-
Twitter.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate you, AJ. You are a legend.
No, I'm just. I can't explain. I don't know the links to stuff, so I'm always just like.
Board.ttvchannel.com, patreon.com/TTV channel, and twitter.com/TTV channel.
That.
Ta-da!
Now,
He did the thing that I couldn't do. And now you'll
send
know.
us out!
And yeah, join the Patreon and the server and the message
Finished,
board.
it's fine.
Yeah. Woo!
Woo!
Did it.
Send me out with a bang.
Anyway, thank you everyone for joining. We hope you enjoyed this episode of MonkieCast. I am AJ.
I am Meso.
I'm Envy.
I'm Starbreaker.
And I'm Dakota.
You sound so disappointed in me.
I'm not. Don't worry.
Thank you for joining. We'll see you all next time. Yeah. Bye.
Get up to Mystic Monkey business.
Yeah.
Thanks for
We'll be
joining
watching.
this porty.
40!
Have fun and
Porty!